Welcome back to the Soccer Ladder with Lee and me, where we explore the journey from youth soccer to the highest levels of the game. Today, we're joined by Jesus Perez, assistant coach of the U.S. men's national team and longtime collaborator of head coach Mauricio Pochettino. He's helping lead the U.S. towards the next World Cup and says this team truly believes it can win it. We'll talk elite preparation, mindset, and what young players can learn from the top level of the game. Jesus, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you all.
So, this is kind of exciting. You are our 30th guest today. Big celebration, 30th guest. And just kind of like a random thing to start off with. So, we were both at FIFA World Cup draw in DC.
Yeah, I think we were very close, but we didn't see each other. So I think the Instagram posts make me realize that if we were so close.
That's the beauty of Instagram. You know, some people complain about social media, but then like it connects you with so many people. And here we were like within like feet of each other. So normally my son, Liam, does the podcast with me, but he has school today, and we know you have a busy schedule. So we're going to have him chime in and ask a couple questions through video. Take us back to the beginning. What first pulled you into coaching, and who were the like coaches that most shaped you to see the game today?
Well, that's a long time ago. I mean, I had only one dream. My dream was to play at the highest level. So all my memories is myself with the ball, with boots, on driving mat, my parents uh, back on those days. But I couldn't make it. I think the smartest decision was to realize that I was missing some qualities to reach the highest level. So I decided to go to university. I did my sports scientist degree for 5 years in Spain with some specialities like obviously football here, soccer over there, and I'm coach on swimmers as well and water polo. So I took both branch, I would say, in my science degrees because I was very curious for obviously for football, that it's my game, but obviously I wanted to learn how to coach an individual athlete, and so swimmers were something very interesting for me because of the strength and conditioning programs and the amount of hours that they have to spend on swimming, and it was a great background for me as well to help me to shape my skills in order to help a coach to be a better assistant. And obviously, one of my professors is, I would say, is one of my references, and some of the first coaches I start to work with in a high level. And obviously, the most influential guy in my career is Mauricio, because it's been 15 years, but because of his qualities as a human, but obviously as a coach, is a great mind. Is a guy that you learn every day from him on man management, making decision processes, and obviously tactically is one of the best in the game.
Okay, so you've worked alongside Mauricio for many years. What makes that partnership work, and how has it evolved over time?
I mean, probably this is a question for him because he is my boss. My only aim was try to support him every day in every topic that he needs me. I have my skills. I try to add the skills in my backgrounds in order to help his way of it's not just coaching, it's management. And it's been growing my role since I joined his coaching staff, and probably because we respect each other so much. We, especially myself, I admire him. When you admire someone, I think it's easier to work. We had good and not so good moments, but because our friendship, respect, and probably quality as a human beings help us to to progress and be better. And always my focus was not to watch the game the way I feel, is to watch the game the way he feels the game. Obviously, it's very, very, very similar, uh, but never spend it 1 second in my life that I will do this, I will do that. No, it's what's necessary for him to take the best decisions. How do I help him on the daily basis? On management, bringing people together, bringing resources together. That's my aim.
Yeah, respect is so important in a relationship. What does major tournament preparation really look like behind the scenes that fans don't usually see?
Well, I think it's very difficult, obviously, for fans to understand what's a process, even for a football club. For a national team is even more difficult because at the end of the day, fans they only know through media, and it's very restricted the access to media to understand uh, how a player prepares himself, how a team prepares a team, how is the build up to a camp, how is the build up to a training session, how is the post training session, everything that comes along the process. For us, it's very simple, especially now that after 15 months together, everything is very clear and very straightforward, and the staff is very close. The process are very, very clear, and now it's easy. It's matter to understand which players are going to be fit for match, which players are going to be fit for the final roster in May, and that's it. So we plan beyond names because we don't know the names. We don't know which ones are going to be fit and selected. So we need to plan whatever can be planned, and don't get stressed by things that are out of our control, I will say.
Wow, that's interesting. I figured you guys knew the names.
Of course, we know the 70 plus names, but can you guarantee me which players are not going to be injured before the pre-list in March, or the final list in March, or the final list in May? No. So obviously you work in a good, or in the best and the worst scenario, but in the middle there are gray scenarios. So that's what I'm pretending to say, that it's about the team. It's not about the names. It's about the team. So you have to plan the team. You have to plan what a team really matters, because names. If we have to do today the list, there are plenty of players that are out completely of the list because they are injured. They are not even training with their teams. So you cannot include, in your mind, players that cannot train or play. That's, it's sad, but that's the reality. So, and whoever says that they know the final roster, I think they lie. No one knows the final roster. None of the 40 plus national teams.
Hi, Jesus. I have some questions for you. Beyond technical ability, what qualities do you value most in U.S. men's national team players?
I think is passion and commitment. Without passion and commitment, it doesn't matter your quality, because passion and commitment brings you to the best version of yourself, physically and mentally. And because you are being gifted to play this sport, everything else is easier. And then when you are committed to someone or to a group, you put your skills to serve the team, and it's the coach who decides. And you never question if I play or don't play, because you are giving your best. So your passion brings you to show your best version, committed to a group. And I think that's what I'm seeing in the top level players, or footballers in this case. And I can say that I've been coaching one of the greatest in the last 20 years. So I can guarantee that that's the level that requires to be a great footballer.
I love that. Have you ever encountered someone at the top level that doesn't have that passion or commitment?
I think soccer players or footballers are an elite version of human beings. So no one is at the highest level forever, and no one is in the lowest level all the time. So I think there are moments in your career, there are situations, there are phases of your life that you have to go through. That's why the most important in life is to reduce the gap in between your best version and your worst version. As long as the gap is short, it says that when you fall very, very little. Because if your version is far away of your worst, it says that you are not consistent, and probably you will struggle to perform at your highest level.
Yeah, that applies to everything in life. I love that. How do you balance intensity and trust when working with elite players who already perform at the highest club levels?
The intensity is defined by the style of play. And today, it's very similar around the world. There are no biggest difference in between Europe or South America or North America, So the game is everywhere. Today, all the coaches, they have access to online courses. Everyone watches games from everywhere in the world. I think it's very global. Obviously, there are some particular situations tactically. Probably you will say in South America there are more fight, more space, and in MLS it's more intense. The Premier League, they gather a lot of very good players, which the game is a bit more difficult. But intensity has to be in everything you do in your life. And then related to trust, we trust people until they prove us wrong. That's simple.
What impact do you believe hosting a World Cup will have on soccer in the US?
Well, it's very difficult to guess, but I've been in the States for more than a year and a half consistently. Before I just went on pre-season tour with my European clubs, and soccer in US, I would say at the highest level, still young. So the professional league is only 25 or 26-year old. So it says that they will grow every year. More and more young players, men and women, are playing this game. I think there are a lot of new programs from the federation and the MLS clubs and the clubs on leagues below that they are promoting this game. I think the impact has to be massive. I think everyone in the world will watch those games, and I hope the U.S. citizens they watch even more, because the focus will be in US for a month. The greatest game in the planet, it's going to be there with 100+ games. I respect every single sport, but there are no one bigger than soccer, because in soccer you can win a game not being the best, not forever, but you can win one game not being the best, and that's unique. In every single sport, who has better players always always win. So you only need to wait for the difference to win it, you know?
Oh, it's going to be an exciting summer. I can't wait.
If you could give one piece of advice to a 12 to 15-year-old player dreaming of the national team, what would it be?
I mean, it's difficult to advise because every single family has a circumstance. I will say stay close to your parents until you are 16, 17. Play the game as much as you can. Um, Not just play in your academy, in your club. Play out there, do other sports, uh, but maximize every single hour in your life. So I'm not one to say don't play video games, don't spend time on tablets or do other cultural things. But if you want to progress in this game, you have to put a lot. But you need to stay surrounded by your family because I saw plenty of excellent players leaving their parents in early ages and they couldn't make it because it's so hard. I'm not saying it's the only way, but if possible, sometimes there are parents that they want to rush their kid careers and they want to take them to uh, good clubs, big clubs, thinking that that's the best way. I think there are plenty of routes to reach the Everest. So it's not just one face. There are plenty of faces to climb the mountain. But I think nowadays, especially the way the society is going, the more you are with your parents, obviously in a stable family, no one will care more about you than your parents.
I mean, that leads me to the question. I feel like I only know US soccer, and my son is in Red Bulls Academy. So, I mean, that's why I started this podcast. Like, I didn't grow up with soccer. I'm learning as I go, trying to just like help other parents because it's a lot. I feel like we see kids like signing younger and younger, like a homegrown player signing at like 14 or 15 years old, or they move over to, I don't know, over to Europe at a very young age. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Obviously, there are extreme situations and there are particular situations on families, and I'm no one to say this is right or this is not. But my impression is that sometimes we rush too much players' careers, and I think Red Bull, or in this case, because you mentioned it, they will provide an excellent academy. Very soon, a new training center. All the resources to grow and to play, and you improve this game playing week in, week out. And sometimes you go into a theoretical better environment, but the sacrifices are crazy to be locked in a residence for so many years, far away of your parents, you know. So will be very interesting to know how many kids real make it, or made it, and how many, I'm saying, I mean, they damage their life as a family because of the dream, and some of them probably uh, never get never got asked about it. It was parents' decisions. Because that's the dream, that's our dream. Uh, and always used to say that when a family has a necessity and agencies or clubs offer you a way out, that's completely different. I'm no one to say anything, but if you ask me to recommend a pathway for the kid, I will say as closest to the family as possible.
Speaking of parents, what is like your advice for the parents?
For me, be parent, be supportive, or demanding if you identify lack of commitment, effort. But never talk about the game, never talk about the coaches, never talk about performances. It's a big mistake. I'm parent as well. My daughter plays soccer uh, for so many years, and I never talk about the game. I'm hard sometimes if I see a complaint about decision from the coach, or complain about teammate, or complain about other things. I give my point of view, and sometimes I'm hard, but I never criticize a coach decision. I never say anything. I am a parent. I'm not a coach. And sometimes parents, they shout on games. They try to guide their kids on games. And also they try to dictate what they should do or not. And I think that's not positive, because uh, the kids, they need only one voice, and it's the voice of his or her coach.
It's wild. Like, it's wild, some of the parents on the sidelines just going crazy, screaming at their kids. I think that's important advice. What's more important for young players, winning or getting better?
I think getting better, winning, because this is a debate that is easy to answer. So I mean, this game is about to win. And what I'm saying, if we want competitive players, they should know how to win. But in every age is a way to win, you know. And there are sensitive phases on the youth players that they have to do things in a right way, and it's the coach who dictates. I think we cannot say, "Oh, just play the game, be nice." No, no, you have to win. When Yeah, I mean, if you play five-a-side on the street, you want to win. You don't play just for fun, and we cannot forget that.
I like that. I like winning. Okay, so we are coming to the end. So let's do some rapid fire type questions. One word that describes a World Cup player.
Winner,
Winner, love it. One habit you see in every elite professional.
passion about the game,
One thing young players should stop worrying about.
money.
Interesting. Okay, wait, why do you say that?
Yeah, because I think there are people that believes that you know is a lot of money out there, and it can, because they have responsibilities with some of their families, and I think that's the worst. So they shouldn't worry about the money. The money comes with your performances.
One thing young players should start doing more of.
Play more soccer.
How much is like too much? So Liam practices, let's say, 4 days a week practice. Game day makes 5 days a week. Then he has a private trainer. Should kids have an off day or train every day? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think every case is different. I know there are a lot of kids that they have personal trainers, and um, and it's okay, because it's like when you on other topics you take a Chinese teacher to improve your Chinese, or your Russian, or your Spanish. But when I say play the game, is play the game with no direction. It's like if you can gather 8, 9 friends or 10 and play out there, for me is better than a private lesson, because if all the training sessions are being programmed by someone, there are no improvisation, there are no self teaching, there are no self resolution of problems. There are not, you don't compete to a guy that is 3 years older than you, and he comes from another background. I'm saying, maybe I'm dreaming too much, but what I'm saying is not be so structured or organized training sessions. When I say to play, because the kids, they need to rest, and sometimes the way to rest is to do other sports or other activities. Because everything is organized. When you are in your team, you're competing to play, but you're competing with your teammate in your position to play. So it's a lot of stress around the process. Whenever you play outside on the streets, if possible, or in a park, it's freedom. that's the real game, you know.
A lot of the guests that we've had on the podcast are retired players. They grew up differently than how the kids are now. Most of them said that they grew up playing outside on the streets and like kicking the ball around in the backyard, that type of thing. But I feel like we don't see that as much. I don't know if that's more of just like a US thing.
No, I think this is very general because I mean, cities are growing. There are less space to play. That's why in Europe, sometimes most of the players that they succeed, they come from, it's not the suburbs, but it's from more countryside, I would say. Why? Because these guys, they spend more time on nature. They do other activities. They ride a bike for 3 hours and they come home. That's in the city. It's difficult. It's more dangerous, the city, I would say, in a different ways. So that's why parents don't let the guys to be out there. I think there are lots of components, but what I'm saying is in general. So I mean that the guys, they should play non-structured game in order to improve their skills.
Okay, so here is your final question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your go-to latte order.
Matcha latte, hot milk, extra hot. That's my favorite.
That's your go-to every day?
No, when I'm in US. When I'm in Spain is espresso.
Yeah, oh yeah. Makes sense. LA has the best matcha. I love, whenever I'm in Los Angeles, I have to get matcha. I mean, I love them anywhere, but LA has such good matcha lattes. Thank you so much for coming on with us today. This was amazing. It's going to be so wonderful for all the kids and parents to listen to.
You are welcome, and thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
We look forward to an exciting summer. Go Team USA. Okay, well, I look forward to meeting you in the future, and have a good one.
Thank you. Take care.
Talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.